Let's talk about that now. You're getting into like professional tracking. You're starting to learn how to mix professionally. And I don't think it's like should be any secret that you are looking outside of yourself to get education from great mixing engineers, right?
Yeah, mate. It's about time, man. And also, like we talk about on this podcast all the time, like it's kind of like losing weight for me. I have to have a reason to do it,
right.
like a genuine reason, like an end goal that is coming. Like it's it's unavoidable. So for me, that sort of reason is the Busted tour. Like me and Charlie sort of MD it, so to speak, run the tracks, make the tracks, build the tracks, do all of that kind of stuff, and it takes a lot of work and also kind of a lot of skill. But I want to be at the point where I can bring a recording setup to the rehearsals and we go, actually, we need another guitar there, or we need something with your vocals there that's not on the track. Let's quickly record that, put that in, boom. And also, people, I don't know if this has always been a thing. I assume it is, but creative people, I feel like there's no time to say like, oh, I've got this cool idea. This is what it's going to be like, and this is how it's going to go. It's like, you just need to show people this sick idea. Like a song. If you go up to someone who's in a band and they say, oh, I've got this idea about a song. It starts with this, then it builds and it builds. It's going to be so good. It's going in one ear and out the other. Right. They don't really care. They're just like, okay, cool, yeah, whatever. So I want to get to the point where I can show everyone like a demo idea, a part of a set, an intro, an outro, whatever it may be. And my chops just aren't up to scratch. They're just not. I want to get to the point where they really are. Like when a song, for example, can
your recording chops?
Yeah, my recording chops. Like a song can leave here, a demo can leave here, and people go, flipping out, that sounds amazing. That sounds really, really good. So yeah, this week I've been learning how to trigger and sample drums, which is, I think it's a touchy subject in the old drum world. But
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah, go on.
That I don't know. So right when I was leaving the recording world, we were starting to trigger things. And at the time, I don't even know what software we used, but basically, let's say you have a wave file of a snare. You would bring this thing down, and as soon as it touched the wave, it was now triggering the sample. And then you could decide how much of that sample made it into the mix. Are people that are triggering, are they fully replacing their drums with triggers, or are they mixing the two together?
I think it's two separate things, man. It really depends.
Maybe metal is fully replaced.
I think so. To be honest, mate, I could drum out something on with my hands, and then I could just use that as the guide, and it could sound like a full-blown drum kit by the end of it. But what I'm trying to get good at doing is mixing the both. And I think triggering and sampling are two different words when they kind of mean the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like triggering, it's got this really negative connotation to it, where it feels like you're not a good drummer, so you're being replaced.
Right. Which is the opposite.
Which for something that sounds better, when actually it's like 99.9% of like music out there has got like a sample. So I think samples are a friendlier word to a drummer. It's nicer on the ego because like it's there just to carry something. Or for example, like the snare that I've got on, the old Raw Brassy, mate, it's a bit of a cracker. I might want some low end thud. Do you know what I mean? And that means I can bring in a sample that has a bit of low end thud and fills in the frequencies that the snare's missing. That doesn't mean that snare's rubbish.
I think the other thing is, so let's say that you nailed the take in your shipping container.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really need to go to some massive studio in Nashville, spend $1,500 a day to nail that same take with way more pressure on your shoulders? And then it's like, yes, we were able to use 99% of all real tones because we had 47 mics and it's like, or could you just do it in your shipping container, be comfortable, nail the take, and get those sounds you wanted anyways? Right?
Exactly.
So I feel like it's a better way to do it for someone like you that's in the pop rock world, where like, why not? Like, you could do it on your own time. Let's say you had to get it done. You could put Trav and Rona to bed and come down to the shipping container at 9 p.m. and knock out these tracks. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I think it's like the best of both worlds. So I think it's awesome, man. And I can't wait to hear. I'm really excited for when people start to reach out to you saying like, hey, I know it's not your thing, but could you do this country song? And you're like, not my thing. Are you wrong? Just so you guys know at home, Eddie sends me lots of country tunes. He's like, you got to check this out, man. You got to check this out.
That is the perfect example of like good sampling. Do you know what I mean? Like where you've got consistency with like kicks, but it's layered with a nice recording, but also like a beefy or clicky sample underneath. So yeah, I'm doing that, man. But to be honest, mate, like this title of the podcast, prioritizing is difficult, man. There's a lot of factors that come into like I said, the busted gig, for example. There's factors. I've got to play and smash the playing, so I'm going to focus on fitnessing. I've got to prioritize my fitness, get my actual chops back up to scratch, play, look good whilst playing. Touring chops, exactly. But then I've got to get my Pro Tools chops up and my playback chops up and all of these things. So prioritizing is a big one. And I know a lot of drummers who are listening to this right now can relate to that, because all the people I teach in here are teachers, then they have a wedding gig, then they play down the pub with a cover band. Yeah. And then it's like, what version of yourself do you need to be? So it's really difficult, mate. And I think we nailed it in our voice notes that no one knows how to do it. No one knows how to be, the on it guy or girl and prioritize and be accountable for everything. I think a life of a drummer these days is kind of hectic and all over the place, but the beauty within that is that we're all in the same position. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think we just have a job to do, whether my job is teaching 8 people in the camp or then changing my job to now I'm going to teach a big group at the UK Drum Show. Now I got to go and entertain people. Speaking of which, at Minel Drum Festival. So